Join in on the adventure and make your pledge today to Forbidden, now on Kickstarter.
What's up, George? Who do we have on today?
All right, today on the show we have Mr. Chris Moses, the Saturn Effect fame. He is the writer of that book, and we're going to be talking about the replacements. We'll let you know about that later.
Yeah, you're going to get replaced for not telling me. Peace.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your meds, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we've never missed a day. Join the squad, come on in, it's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the craze.
Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George the Dreamer Medina. What's up, Sam?
I was able to download new drivers to fix my camera settings. Remember, it was coming up dark. It was I was able to download some new drivers to be able to fix all of my camera settings. I was like, yo, these cameras are expensive, and it's acting up. I'm a brokepreneur. I can't replace them.
No bueno.
Yes, I downloaded drivers, fixed it.
All right, cool. That's good. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Catch the Craze. It is July 9th, and hope everybody had a safe 4th of July. We're in the middle of summer. Hopefully, it's a heat wave going on. No, not really.
I need a heat wave.
I don't really, not big on the heat. I'm not a big heat guy.
No, you don't like the heat?
No, I hate the heat, dude. I prefer cold over hot.
I prefer my favorite season. My favorite two seasons are spring and fall. I love fall because I love the colors and I love the slight chill in the air. It's not freezing. It's not cold. Mm-hmm. You know, where you can actually just walk out with a cardigan, a nice little sweater, and chill. Yeah. And I like the spring because the 70s below 8, like between 70 and 78. Good, nice breeze, especially at night. It's like, wow. But for some reason, the summers are getting hotter and hotter. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no. I love the spring is my favorite season. But if I had to choose between being hot or being cold, I'd rather be cold, even though it's not. Because what happens is, this is the way I look at it. No matter how much clothes you take off when it's sweltering hot and you're sweating for no reason,
you feel like crap.
no matter how much clothes you take off, you're still gonna be hot. If you're cold, throw in a couple of layers and you're gonna be warm. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I prefer it. But yeah, I just.
Well, the reason why I don't like. All right, so I have barbarian legs, right? So so the reason why I don't like when it's too hot, because my legs start to shake.
I noticed, the sweat and the inside of my thighs, it starts because it's too thick.
And I was like, and then you start sweating in places a man shouldn't be sweating. You know what I mean? It's just like uncomfortable.
I hear you.
It's horrible.
There's no reason. I don't mind the heat if I'm on vacation and there's water in the area. I don't mind the heat then. I don't mind it. But when you're just like sitting there and you're sweating, there's no reason for it.
I love when it's hot. If I'm at the beach, I'm in the ocean. Because you're not going to get me out of the water.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's water behind your hot, you're good.
I'm all good. But there's no way, you're not going to see me one of those cats at Central Park sitting on the Great Lawn when it's 100 degrees outside and everyone's trying to chill.
For no reason.
Oh, hell no. I don't want to bake.
That is amazing.
I was like, well, some people walking by, they're like, yo, we smell chorizos. Who's selling Spanish food around here? That's me. That's me.
That'd be me. I'm Chorizo. Nice to meet you.
He's Acapurria.
Oh
Oh,
man,
shit.
yes indeed, sir. Yeah, so anyway, we have a very, very, very fun show for you guys today, and
Yes, we do.
make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah,
Make sure
make
you hit
sure
the
you do
like
that.
button.
Do your thing.
Support the channel.
Yes.
We want to grow it as much as we possibly can.
Yes.
And it's July, so what do we have in indie news, Sam?
What do we have in indie news in July?
In July,
Julysier. Julysier.
July to me, man.
Let's see. Hold on. If my memory serves me correctly, we are currently in the second week of the Forbidden Kickstarter.
Oh, okay, all right,
Yeah,
all
you
right.
forgot. You forgot. You see that? You said
No, I just didn't. I don't know when you were planning on putting that out. So
Yes. So
me,
Forbidden
because I
Kickstarter
thought it was in
launches in
June.
June, but this will be the
Right.
second week in July
Oh,
because
okay,
it's the
okay.
ending of June.
Okay. So it's at the end of June. So there you go. So we're in the second week.
Second week.
So make sure you hit in there.
You're
You get
acting up.
into now. Where is it? Is it Kickstarter or Indiegogo?
It's Kickstarter. So I
All right.
moved.
So
I moved
Kickstarter.
Forbidden to Kickstarter officially, and because everybody asked and all of the data analysis that I did and all the people I spoke to felt that I get a bigger return on my investment on Kickstarter versus Indiegogo. And so,
Yeah.
we had a nice run on Indiegogo, and I appreciate all the support on Indiegogo, but, I want to be able to broaden Forbidden's horizons, and Kickstarter is a place to go.
That's right. And remember that this is to color the next installment of the book. So
The next installment of the
all the
book.
pages are drawn. Yeah, all the pages are drawn. It's just about the coloring. And if you pledged to the first one, you saw the colors on that first book, and
Yeah.
they were amazing.
They were tight. And the great thing about it is that I locked in the colorist to do the entire series.
Right.
And so the money is to pay for the future pages. And but the good thing about it is that the issue 1, because the Indiegogo was issue 0, issue 1 is colored. But it's just that's 6 issues, so we want to get the whole series colored.
There you go. So yeah, so you could be part of that. So make sure you go to Kickstarter. The link is down below. Hit that, support that, and make sure we reach our goal, because that book's is dope, man. I can't wait to see it in full color.
It is. It is fantastic.
Fantastico.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what's going on in indie news, and the crazies. We should be moving forward with that.
Yep.
Sure, we're gonna be somewhere in the future.
It's hard. It's hard to determine the outcome when we're in the past.
Yeah, let me tell you something. We are grateful for the support that we've gotten from other indies, where they feel like this is the place they want to come on and promote their product. For that reason, we book and then we record and we release in the future.
Catch and release.
While this is July, we are actually recording this in April. So we don't know exactly 100% what's happening, but we do have plans, because we plan everything ahead. So
Yes.
which is why we know that the Kickstarter will be launched on that around this time.
Yes.
So yes, so that's the plan. That is the plan. But yeah, that's some good stuff in the news.
Yeah. That's what I have so far, because we're so far in advance.
June went by fast, man.
Everything.
June went by quick, dude.
The whole year went by fast.
Yeah, it is. It truly is flying.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's flying. So, we'll see what else. I mean, I don't know. We might have already hit a couple of conventions. We may be going to another convention. It's hard to say. So,
yes.
But stay tuned. We will have, in between the shows, we do have Kickstarter specials for those that are releasing books. And so check those out, because then you'll get more updated information. So definitely make sure that, again, you're subscribing so that you are made aware of all the shows that we are releasing. There's always the Crazy 10 or Less, and remember that there is What's in the Box. So
yes,
those shows are out.
Yes,
there as well.
I've been trying to figure that out for a while.
What's that?
What's in the box?
Yeah. Did you find out? Or
I'm trying to figure it out. It's like, okay, asshole. I'm not opening that. Did you open that? I'm not going to open that.
what's in
What
that
if it's a
box, yo?
bong?
Oh man. Well, listen, we're talking about Kickstarters. We're talking about conventions. Why don't we put the topic up there for the day and let's chat about it a
The
little bit.
topic of the day is Gomit.
It's time for your medicine.
Kickstarter, the replacements, and Indiegogo.
Indiegogo.
So,
Question: do we think, or have they been? Now that we're in July, were or are Kickstarter and Indiegogo crowdfunding campaigns the replacements for us not being able to go to conventions? In other words, did we spend all of this money on Kickstarters because we couldn't go to conventions and we couldn't, support independence that way?
I think so.
What do you think?
I
You
think so.
so?
Yeah, I'm not a super backer like you. I'm a bronze backer, but because I'm a brokepreneur. But I do believe that because number one, I think it's the exclusivity of it, that you're getting something that you know is not going to be in the stores, and if you feel like you're on the inside of something, especially if it's appealing to you. You got no place to go. Like the movies were closed, conventions were closed. So what do? So where do you spend your time? So everybody's creating on Kickstarter and everybody's releasing their stuff on there. So that became the next hangout for everybody.
Right.
And when I talk to cats and when I look, I mean, I don't know how many you've backed so far, but I mean, there's a lot of cats that are just like super duper backers. And
Yeah.
I've never pledged on Kickstarter until we started running a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Because I never even considered, I didn't even use Kickstarter before, and until last September. So it just seems to be, and the crazy thing is, there's so much great content,
Yeah.
and the tough part is like for someone like me, the tough part is like some of the reward levels are a little steep, but I try to back the art. I back artists. For me, it's about the art, and I like the art style, so I'll back the artist. That's a joint, but I think it's the next hangout spot.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that, me backing these okay, so me backing these Kickstarters, was it because I wasn't going to conventions? I don't know that that's 100% true, because I don't know that I spent that much money at conventions, unfortunately, on other independents. But I think that that's because there's so much more to see at a convention. So while this is almost like a substitute for not going to a convention, I don't think that it's in other words, it's not going to replace a convention. We still want to go to conventions. The crowdfunding campaigns, the Indiegogos, the Kickstarters, I think that those are kind of like stopgaps while we get to go out there. And we may already be out there, I don't know. But I think that if I was going to conventions, I probably wouldn't be spending as much money on Kickstarter. So I guess in that way, it is that kind of replacement for me. Just somewhere to spend your money, right? And support the arts as well. But I think it's just a thing of like, all right, I'm on this app. And the thing with Kickstarter, and I'm mentioning Kickstarter more than Indiegogo, because I don't know that I've backed as many. I haven't backed as many crowdfunding campaigns than Indiegogo. And simply because there's just no app. So if I'm bored waiting online somewhere, I'll be going through Kickstarter on the app and I'll be like, oh, that looks cool. Boop. And just look at the tiers and be like, all right, cool, boom. Let me back that up. Now, the only reason I don't have more books is because I back to the PDF levels, and it's only because I'm running out of space for books.
Yeah.
But
Same thing here. It's like I packed so if I'm really excited about the art and I really want to have that physical copy, I will back for the physical copy.
Right.
If I look at it and when I look into it further and I read the premise or whatever, I like the art, but I'm not digging the premise, I'll do the PDF. So it all depends on how appealing it is to me. But I think what happens is the majority of people that attend Comic Cons. This is, I'm telling you, my wife always wants to go walk the dogs when I have to record, and then she takes an hour, and then they start barking. So the majority of the people that go to conventions, I'd say the greater percentage are there for the bigger names. The greater percentage are there for the collectibles, for those back issues that they're trying to find that they can't get in their comic shop, right? Yeah. There's a small percentage that are there for the indies. Now, there is a percentage of those who are there for the others who they've gotten everything they wanted. They got in the back issues, the collectibles, the stuff style, and they still have an extra couple bucks in their pocket. So they'll walk through Artist Alley or a small press arena to see what's there, right? So then they come across something, they're like, oh, this is pretty dope, right? It's like that thrill of the find. It's almost like Marshalls. You don't know what you're going to find. It's never going to be the same thing there. Where on Kickstarter, all you have to do is type in comics and you see all these things coming up. And you can weed out, because Marvel's not on Kickstarter, but you'll have Dynamite, you'll have, Boom, people from IDW, a lot of guys on Kickstarter. So there's a lot of unknowns out there. And there's others, some guys who are mainstream that are working on their own indie projects.
Well, that's what it is.
You know what I mean? So people can go so people go and navigate to that. So it gives you an opportunity to, number one, at your own pace. You don't have to worry about getting bumped. You don't have to worry about all these people. You have money that you haven't been able to spend. So why not? Hey, let me invest in somebody that's really did a great job with the presentation. So I think a lot of it has to do with your presentation too. They put a lot of thought into the presentation. They put a lot of thought into the video and whatever it is, and it connected with me on some sort of level. But I think once we're in full force and full convention gear, that's going to have that same gusto. It'll probably drop maybe 15-20%, but I still think people will still go to Kickstarter because not everybody's able to go to cons.
Well, I think so too, and I think the reason why people will go to Kickstarter, and again, more so than Indiegogo, is because Kickstarter doesn't take your money right away. So imagine shopping on, just shopping without actually getting charged for it until, a month down the road. You know what I mean? And only if that number that person wants to make is made. Otherwise, you don't get charged.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll take the chance. Boom. I'll do it. Let's do it. You can't do that at a convention. At a convention, the book is here. Is the money in your pocket? Do you have it? Here you go.
Yep.
What's interesting to me is that we're willing to wait, and we're willing to take that risk of maybe not ever getting that book and just dropping that money in there just to see what happens.
I got an update number 36 on a book that I backed that ended off last year, and they're still not done.
Yeah.
They're still not done because these guys decided to run a Kickstarter without having the pages done or the book done.
You sound so angry, Sam.
Oh, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's like, because I have to make sure that I get my stuff, and because I think I think when I combine my Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns, it's probably a dozen that I backed, within the last 4 months.
Wow.
So you want to remember, like, who, then I go look and I go, update number 36. Oh, we're down to the final couple pages.
Okay. So to play devil's advocate, and in their defense, that was the reason for the crowdfunding campaign was to pay for that artist.
No, but they didn't. They missed their deadline. They went beyond the threshold of when they were supposed to get it out to everybody, because the artist was working on another project.
So So what you're saying is you're okay. Well, that's fine. If you need the money to pay the artist, that's fine.
I'm fine with that.
Don't give me a date and then not
deliver.
Did they send any kind of updates as to why?
They said the first couple updates. Oh, we ran into a hiccup where the artist had to finish some projects and blah blah blah. Okay, now we're inking the pages. Okay, now it has to be colored. It has to be lettered. You know what I mean? It's like so, and then they missed the deadlines. So for me, it leaves a bad taste in somebody like who's new to the whole environment. Yeah, it leaves a bad taste because it's like I'd move on. Like I wouldn't back it again because of all those delays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not professional. And that's why the indie community got a bad rep with Diamond and with distribution.
Yeah.
Because of consistency, because not being able to deliver on time, not being able to have consecutive issues on time, all those things that plagued it. And then when you transfer that same nonsense into crowdfunding where you're dependent on people's hard-earned bucks, it's not a good look. You need to come correct from the moment you start.
Yeah. See, now the question also when talking about this topic is from a small publisher or even an independent artist or even just an artist in general, right? Will you now pay, $300, $600 in some cases for a table at a convention when you can sit behind your computer? And if you have a large enough fan base, you can make thousands of dollars on Kickstarters.
I can tell you right now, I'm not paying $300 for any table.
Right.
The reason why I'm doing PowCon because it was affordable. And when I look at like Big Apple Con, I said it again. I'm gonna keep throwing those guys under the bus. But you're at the New York hotel. You have a limited capacity based on New York restrictions. But you're starting an artist alley $600 a table. Come on, it's just not gonna happen. And so, for me, I'd rather try to build my e-commerce business and try to build a fan base and continue to come out quarterly producing my books.
See, you know what the crazy thing about that is that conventions are a great way to build a fan base, right? So it's almost like a necessary evil.
Yep.
Because you need that exposure to the people so that they know who you are, so that when you are sending them that email or when you are on your social media promoting your Kickstarter, whatever your crowdfunding campaign you're doing, they will now come and follow you and put the money down for it.
Yep.
So I don't know if there's a way maybe to combine the two, where like if you have a Kickstarter and you run your Kickstarter in a way where like you run the Kickstarter and you know that by the end of the Kickstarter, say for example a convention's coming up, and you can say to people, hey, pick up your books at the show, on this particular day. If you're going, I have that option. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like you can combine the two. Now, I'm not saying buy a ticket just to pick up a book because that's dumb. But if you are going to the convention, and I'm going to be at the convention, and I've timed this Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign so that instead of shipping, because shipping is the thing that costs the most, I think, or one of the things that
shipping based on, I think when we had 64 backers, I think shipping was almost $300.
Yeah, see that?
You know what I'm saying? So, and
that's 10% of the goal. That's 10% of what was made.
Yes. So that's why, like, people get turned off when they back something and then they're getting charged shipping at checkout. So what I try to do is estimate based on the weight what the shipping is going to be, and I incorporate that into the reward. So this way, we break even if it was nickel for nickel. Whatever we raise went right straight to production and shipping. I'm good with that. I just don't want to do a campaign and then next because I didn't charge shipping, now I'm coming out of pocket to try to ship everything. Yeah. That's just bad business.
Yeah. No, it makes and that's the thing. It's a question of, okay, can these two things coexist? Or is one replacing the other? And I think that they can coexist. I think you can have both. I think you can have the crowdfunding campaigns and the conventions. The thing is the customer willing to spend money on both? Right? That's the thing. It's either or. If I'm going to the convention, I'm pocketing that money for the stuff that's going to be at the convention. So I may not go to the artist alley. I may not go to, small press, because the money that I have in my pocket is for those photographs that I'm going to be taking with a celebrity that I want to see. So that's where kind of like it hurts our pocket, and where the crowdfunding campaign helps it, as long as we have a large fan base. So I guess we got to be strategic about the way we use these two entities.
I think the way you build credibility, if you're going to do a crowdfunding campaign and you want a loyal following, is to deliver on time or ahead of time. I think that's the biggest thing. Make sure you deliver on your word. And, we've been fortunate, both campaigns for Catch the Crazies, we got everything to everybody early. And I'm planning on doing the same thing with Forbidden.
Yeah.
So that the biggest thing is for me, it's the customer service. It's really about retention. And if I can make sure that you're pleased with me because I communicated timely, I delivered timely, and I gave you a product that you'd enjoyed, the odds are in my favor that you'll come back. And so I think that's the biggest thing. Be professional all the way through. You got to treat it as a business, and everybody that's coming out of their pocket, they have options, and the fact that they chose you, that's a blessing. You're fortunate enough that somebody said, you know what, I'm going to back this guy. I don't know anything about it, but it looks interesting. So don't take it for granted. Go up, make sure you put your best foot forward because that's your name.
It's fun. You know what I also find interesting is that in the crowdfunding campaigns, I feel like there's more of a camaraderie, and there's more like people saying, yo, go back that, what that says, versus when you're on the floor on a convention, it's like me, look at me.
Yeah.
There's a lot more competition when you are in front of the people that you are selling against versus when you're behind a screen and you're just saying, hey, you know what, there's plenty for everybody. When in reality, there is plenty for everybody. You understand? So I think we have to look into that as well. Like even at conventions, you can't help it though. I mean, because you're either the I don't know, you sink or swim, or it's survival of the fittest.
That's
it's
it.
doggy dog world and all those cliches.
Yeah. Yes. So with that said, our guest is
sir.
in the waiting room. So
All right.
we're gonna run to a commercial, and when we come back, we're going to have our guest.
Do you have a Kickstarter campaign and you're trying to figure out how to get the word out? You look online and you see the competition is fierce. Comic-Cons are slowly coming back, but in the meantime, how do you spread the word? You worked for hours creating your campaign. You post on as many social media sites as possible, trying to get the word out to no avail. Well, look no further. Why not sponsor an episode of Catch the Craze podcast, the fastest growing indie podcast in the market today? That 30-second promo can get you an extra 2 to 3 backers or more. Who knows? Let's go. Hit the link below and get one step closer to a successful campaign.
Hello there. Welcome.
So there it is. What's up, Chris?
How you guys doing? What's up?
What's
Good.
going
How
down?
you doing? How you doing, buddy?
Living, guys, living, surviving.
Well, welcome everybody back to Catch the Craze. We are here with Mr. Chris Moses of the Saturn Effect fame. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing great. How are you guys
Good,
doing?
man. Hey, listen, man, your book, nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. It's like a little oversized, which I like. It's not your traditional size, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, so we're here sitting with Chris Moses. This is Sam Vera, my partner in crime on the podcast. But before we start on the book itself, just introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them who you are and what it is that you do.
All right. Well, I'm Chris Moses. I'm from New York, Long Island, and write comics.
It's as simple as that.
Pretty.
Write comics. That's what you
exactly.
do.
Yeah.
How did you get into the whole writing comics? Were you formally trained as a creative writer? Did you take classes? Did you go to school for it? Like, tell us a little bit about that process.
Word. So I didn't go to school necessarily for writing. I went to school so I went to NYU for English, and my whole thought process for that was that I wanted to absorb all the great stuff and have people tell me exactly, all right, this is what you need to read, because not like you actually have to go to university to have somebody to absorb these things. They're all online for you to do that, but to have that guidance of this is what you should look at, and then have them break it down for you was really instrumental in the whole formation of what I want to write and how I want to write. And so yeah, I used to write a lot of poetry and stuff in college, and before college and high school and middle school, I'd write some stories with friends and stuff. But I didn't really get into writing comic books until right before the pandemic. It was about fall 2019 now. It's kind of a long time ago now.
Right?
Yeah, crazy to think about.
It's nuts.
Yeah, and just written I'd written a story, like a screenplay for a story that's actually that's going to be coming out soon.
All
But
right.
I won't be saying too much about that. But
Okay.
I wrote afterwards. I wrote the Saturn Effect, and and then I was like, how do I get this out there to people? Because I don't have $100 million to make this gigantic, movie, project, whatever. So it was, I just, I hired an artist and started doing the whole comic thing. And that was about like November-ish. And,
Wow.
just been doing it, just been grinding that ever since, dude.
That's awesome, brother. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, no. I remember when the Kickstarter came out, I pledged to it, and you guys finished that book in a fairly, it was quickly. Like you guys were done pretty fast with that thing. So I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, well, first, thanks for backing. It's like,
Yeah,
it means a
of
lot.
course.
Appreciate it. I'm glad you
Absolutely, man.
enjoy the book.
Yeah,
It was-
definitely.
But yeah, we so that book was our second artist for our spin-off series, which is the Saturn Effect Alpha, and Francesco Mazzoli, and he's a great Italian dude. Him and his buddy and my buddy too, Marco D'Alessandro,
Yeah.
and yeah, they're workhorses. They love art and they love comics. I mean, I love comics. And we all sort of like feed into each other. Like I'm always typing away, like every day I'm here, I'm just like going, and Mazzoli's always drawing, Marco's always coloring, and like we all feed into each other. We're always talking about like the Saturn Effect and Alpha and like being creative, and yeah, wow.
They produce amazing work, dude. I'm sorry to cut you off, Chris. I saw this. I was like, yo, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. And yeah, I mean, of course, you can totally, you totally shill for the Saturn Effect whenever you want, man. But yeah, we just feed into each other, and we're always just grinding, and we're always just working, and that's been the journey. That's how we started, and that's what we've been doing. And it's just the beginning, like,
Yeah.
That's what I always try to like keep in perspective for all of us. It's like, first of all, we're just at the beginning of like an 8-part series, right? That's book 1 you have in your hand,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
actually, maybe I have something to show you. Interestingly enough, I have the
Oh,
one that we're about to kickstart soon, issue 2,
nice.
coming in about 2 weeks, I'd say. About 2
Okay,
weeks,
all right.
give or take a few days.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and so we're just at the beginning, and so the people that, the people that are supporting us right now, these are the diehards that are going to be like, yo, I knew about this,
Right.
10 years ago, 20 years ago. So
Yeah,
I was just
that's
trying
awesome.
to keep that in perspective, and just like, we got a lot of work ahead of us, and let's keep the grind going.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah. So I see that you have pre-launch page for your next Kickstarter,
Yes, we do.
and this is launching when?
We're aiming for the 19th. It could be a couple days here or there, but yeah, it should be in about 2 weeks.
And you have 59 followers.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I hate to break up the fun here, Chris, but we will. This show airs July 9th. So you would have already made your
Yes.
Kickstarter. It
Absolutely.
would have been funded. People would be getting their books. Are there
that.
plans that far in advance, like in
Yeah.
July, for you to come? Okay, so you have more stuff coming.
Yes.
Obviously, it's an 8-parter, so hopefully we'll be by the 3rd book or something by this time around.
Yes. So in between that, between this Kickstarter coming up and when we're, the time this will be airing around July,
Yeah,
we should be having another project, maybe even 2,
There you
that
go.
are the Saturn Effect,
Okay.
that are, maybe, hopefully, everyone's enjoys it. It'll be, they're both my, creator owned, but we have different artists, and
Okay.
and
Dude.
they're both in a little different vein, So,
Chris, how addicting is this? How addicting is
extremely.
creating comics, isn't it?
Extremely.
Like you started doing this back in like the fall of 2019, and
Yeah.
we're talking about this is going to be airing in July, and you already have a 2nd book, and you already have another, creator-owned project that you're working. It's an addictive. It's like a drug, dude. So, how do you come up with these ideas? Like, where are they coming from? Were these things that you always had in your mind, or are these things that you are just creating now, and you're like, oh wow, now I have a means to put them out? Here I go.
It's definitely the latter, I'm sort of, just writing and getting it out there. And I've always been the type of person, it's like asking my friends to like, hey, read this, look at this. And it's just easier to get people to look at something than it is to get them to read something. And you're totally right. It's so addicting, and I think it's addicting. And the reason why I'm like continuing to do more and write and just continuing to go, it's because comics gives you so much agency as a creator, right? There's no other medium right now where you're gonna have as much creative freedom, and still be able to garner some sort of audience and garner some sort of, maybe even sell a product, right? In movies, you're going to be gated by like large budgets and producers and other things. You're going to have editors everywhere else. But in comics, you can just, hire an artist, write a story, and just put it out there. Put up a Kickstarter, put up an Indiegogo. And this is just the beginning, just as I was saying before, of like the next revolution of indie comics, right? Indie comics just is continuing to make more money. As we see, we see Keanu Reeves with Berserker or whatever. They have like what, a movie and a spin-off anime coming out? Like what?
Bananas, right?
Yeah, bananas, and it's crazy. And you also have like Rick Remender with Tokyo Ghost getting its own a movie. You have Mark Millar with Jupiter's Legacy. He's also coming out with Chrononauts. It's just, indie comics is where it's at. Creator-owned projects is like the future and the now. Honestly, it's not. It's literally the now and it's the future. And yeah, that's why it's so addicting, and that's why I like. And that's, and being in the now is what sort of fuels. Going back to the original question of like, where do these ideas come from? Being in the now and being in the moment. Like this is. And not just in comics, but in just the world. We're in like a really, this is the time that, our grandkids are going to be, if they're around, if they're there.
See what happens.
Exactly. Maybe just our kids. Let me not take too many, generations for granted. But yeah, this is the time they'll be like, wow, you guys lived through a pretty insane time. And we'll be like, yeah, we did.
Absolutely, dude.
And that's what fuels everything.
So quick question, because I don't know if you touched on it, because I was looking up, I posted one of your images on the screen while you guys were talking, but how did you find your artists? Where did you find your artists? Where did you nerd to look for the artists? Go through that process.
All right, for sure. So for our first artist, Jacopo Callisti, I found him on Reddit, actually. So I was just on r/comic book collabs, which is like the best place for indie comics. Like if you're just starting out, that's like the place you want to look every single day, right? Like if you're an artist, you always want to be looking for people hiring, and if you're a writer, especially if you're like a broke writer, you're definitely wanting to look for artists that are like, hey, I'll draw your whatever because I'm just starting out also. So that's where I would look. It's always best to, approach artists with a budget. That's almost always, the way to do it. But sometimes you gotta, these are agreements among adults. So if you can find a way to, get them to work on something on the back end, then that's always, A plus. But going back to how I found these artists. So I found Jacopo on Reddit, but Francesco was referred to me by Jacopo. And then from there, and then I have another artist that maybe we'll see that project relatively soon also. And he was also referred to me by Francesco. So it's a lot of word of mouth. But then it's also a lot of actual, grassroots, I'd say, where I'm going through Reddits or going through Instagrams and looking for artists and like looking for specifically artists that are like, on the come up, like sort of like me, that are like young and hungry and that are like, let's do this. Like, if we're going to do this, we can do this. And like, let's just, write, let's draw, and let's work. Exactly. Yeah. Let's make these books. Exactly. So that's what I've been doing. I usually, I guess pro tip, what I usually do is I'll go to the artists that I love, right? If you're a big fan of Matteo Scalera, follow him on Instagram. But everyone that's liking his stuff also are big fans of Matteo Scalera. Right. So if you're going through those artists and you're going through the people that like their pictures, you're going to find artists that look up to that artist and are emulating and learning from them. And And so that's generally how I'll like, or it's not the only way, but it's one of the ways that I'll like sort of, and you know, looking at some of the really famous artists, they have like 20,000 likes. You're gonna have to, you'll be there for a long
you'll
time.
be there for a minute.
You'll be banned by the Instagram algorithm way before you're ever getting like a quarter of it. So, you know, I wouldn't just sit there and mindlessly like stuff like that, but you know, it just gives you a general direction, and you know, you kind of got to make these algorithms sort of work for you, because you know,
it's
Mark
so
Zuckerberg doesn't care about you.
It's so interesting the world we live in, right? Where you can find an artist on the other side of the world and work with them as if they're sitting next to you. Absolutely. How is that process for you? Walk us through the process of sending them your script now, and then they send you what, a thumbnail, or do they what's the approval process of these pages, and how long does that process take?
So that I feel like is really dependent on the artist. For me, at least, I try not to go into a project with a very like I have my vision, right? I have the script, and the script is the roadmap, right? This is the guide. This is what we're building, right? But that's like, I want the artist to come in and be able to create, you know. This is not just, I'm not just like your slave master, you know. You're coming in here and we're like working together, we're building something, because comics are like really, well, one, they're putting in so much time just to get, if you want a really nicely drawn comic, it's going to take time, no matter how fast they are. Like, you mean, and like a page a day artists are like still, you know, that's like a month, 2 months of work, right? That's a lot of time and a lot of hours being put in. So you want them to be invested. And so I don't want them to come into a project where they're feeling immediately bogged down by my horrendously strict, you know, guidelines. So it's relatively open and free, but the whole process of finding the artist is finding these people that are hungry and ready to go, right? And so I shouldn't need to have to be like, hey, I need these pages, you know, right now, or this day, X day, right? I mean, it's always good to have, you know, time constraints.
Sure.
But, you know, sometimes if you want something done really well, sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer, right? And that's okay. And you want to be accommodating to your artists in that way, because they're putting in so much time and so much effort for you know, your baby, the baby that you're going to have together, right? So
absolutely.
The process is relatively different for each artist, but it's always also kind of the same. So usually I send them the script. I have them have it broken down into panels. I usually have reference images, and for reference images, I usually only use actual like professional comic book pages. Like, I don't usually use movie scenes or anything. I usually just like go through, like, you know, whatever DC, Marvel, and all the other indie publishers are coming out with, and I'll go through those. And yeah, I mean, I'll send them that script, and I'll sometimes we'll do. I think that the first process for that is definitely thumbnails, right? And you want to do thumbnails for your whole entire book, because you want to be able to get the God view. That's the power in comics, right? And the God view is like the view that you have as the writer before everyone else does, right? You need to give the God view to the artist, so they need to draw it out also. And then also you want the God view for the colorist too, so they can really tie it all together. So yeah, so then it's thumbnails, and we'll look at them and we'll be like, all right, it looks good. And then it's, you know, let's go. Yeah. It's pencils, then it's inks. I have a letter, Reed Hinckley Barnes, who's an awesome guy. And he and I usually will, as we're going with pages, we'll be doing the lettering as well. So we're, you know, once the colors are on it, we're ready to go. It's ready. It's off to the printers, you know.
It's a great process. It's fun, right, to do this whole thing and working with people and everything like that. But so Sam, I don't know if you have anything for him, but I just, because I was going to ask him about the story.
That's what good. That was the question. I'll talk about the premise.
Yeah. So what is the Saturn Effect about? Tell us what the story's about.
All right. Well, the Saturn Effect is well, it's I guess the straight pitch is the Saturn Effect Alpha takes place 2 years after the explosive conclusion to the Saturn Effect Ajax in the Saturn Effect Ajax 1. And we follow Stellar siblings, Alpha and Centauri, as they're trying to free their, family and free their people, the people of the Titan colonies, and the mysteries that that await them in the solar system. And it's
awesome.
it's pretty open. I don't want to spoil too much because
Yes.
The premise is sort of also baked into the first issue. I want you to, the first issue I wrote as a one shot to begin with, and then it's sort of grew into what it's going to become. So, but yeah, that's the Saturn Effect Alpha for you.
No, that's awesome. Did you what inspired the book? What inspired the idea for the book?
So the original book was inspired by the original, like the whole Saturn Effect I wrote after watching Ad Astra, and I hated that movie like with a burning passion. I thought it was terrible. I was like, how do they give people, first of all, how do you get Brad Pitt to act in this piece of trash? Can I curse? Like, it was awful movie. And I'm like, I could do so much more with than this. And I'd also just watched Interstellar, and was like, wow, this is like what I want to write. This is what I want to make. And having those two conflicting sci-fi epics in my mind, sort of, I channeled into the Saturn Effect.
Sparked the interest. That's the story. That's awesome, brother.
Yeah, it has I'm dating myself, but it has a Exo Squad feel to it.
Exo Squad. I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah,
before.
You got to look it up. But on YouTube they have episodes of it, but it has like this Exo Squad feel to it.
Okay.
And that's just for me hearing your premise.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man.
So what's your goal for the project?
Just to finish the story, get it out there.
Eight issues, huh?
8 issues. Not too bad.
Are you planning on collecting it into one trade?
Yeah, so we're going to be planning for a volume 1 after issue 4, and then 5 through 8, and we'll be coming out in a volume 2. And I believe we may even have some sort of like a director's cut of the online stuff that hasn't been printed out, the online free stuff.
That's awesome.
And that'll be fun too.
Is it going to be the same team? Are you guys keeping the team together? Is it going to be Mazzoli and D'Alessandro?
Yeah,
the whole run, hopefully.
That's
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I mean, why not? It's only 8 issues.
That sounds great, man. I love that. When you guys sent it, I posted a picture of what you guys sent, and the cover, dude, like the printing. Where'd you guys get this printing done? It's very, very well, like the hard cardstock.
I went to Mix'em printing.
Mix'em.
Okay.
They do good work.
They do. We actually
quick.
Exactly. They're so fast. They are so fast. Yeah. That's awesome, my brother. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else you have, and obviously we're recording this now and it'll be airing in the future.
Yeah.
But once the Kickstarter launches for the second one and even the third one, you got me, man. I'm hooked on this, and I'm ready to keep reading it.
I didn't even know about it until George told me about it, and the art on it is crazy.
Sick.
So I just I'm number 60 following right now.
Awesome, thank you both. And thank you from Mazzoli. I know he'd be,
it's killing it. I mean, it's
he's
beautiful.
Great. He's amazing, and both of them are.
Dude.
Yeah, both of them are a great team together. And yeah, I mean, I love both of them. They're great guys. We're great friends, and I appreciate all the work that they do for the Saturn Effect and do for all of us.
Hey, listen, you got to come back on the show. We got to have you back when you have that next project that you're working on. But tell everybody how to find the Saturn Effect, how to find you, and give us all your social network information.
Of course. So you can find me on Twitter at @rchrismoses. You can also find the Saturn Effect on Twitter at the Saturn Effect, which is also our Instagram tag, which we post where I'm the most active. Then you could also find us at www.thesaturneffect.com, where you'll find 3 free issues, TSC Ajax. And you can also find Mazzoli at francesco.mazzoli.art, and you can find Marco at Turamb, TURAMB.art at Instagram also.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Will do, man.
Outstanding.
Will do. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming
Thank you,
on and
guys.
chatting with us for a little
Of
bit.
course.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to what you guys have coming. So I'm ready.
Thanks, guys.
All right, my brother.
Thanks, brother.
You take care.
That was Chris.
Saturn Effect.
Yes, Maine, we're back. That was the Saturn Effect. The freaking artwork. I didn't even know about this. I mean, the artwork is killer.
Dude, it's crazy. Next time I'm over there, I'm gonna just I'm gonna let you hold this.
Jeez.
So you can just take a look at some of this
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm gonna go. He says he has the free copies on his website. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I would have known about the website and the free copies. I would have read
What's in
it
the box?
ahead of time. But yeah, no. I mean, that's pretty dope. I mean, it sounds like a really good story. He's got 60 followers already.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the secret sauce going, and he's got. I mean, the talent behind the book is outstanding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, big time. Big time.
Yes.
Just hit me up. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, cool guy, man. Cool guy. I love these young, creators who are coming in hungry, man.
Yeah.
They remind me of like when we were coming into the game and we're like, yeah, man, come on, let's just work. And like there's no exchange of money. It's just exposure.
Yeah.
Because they were young and hungry. So I love it. I love that they're actually getting
Well,
it done.
and back then we didn't have Kickstarter, so I was burning money like there was nothing tomorrow.
Man,
Everything I was making was going into this, and I almost got divorced. But and now with Kickstarter, it's a little different.
It's a game changer.
It is a game changer.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
But
It really is.
that's pretty awesome. So
That is awesome.
it's time to go to
Yeah.
plug and play.
You've been plugged.
So who's been plugged today?
Who is being plugged
Michael
today?
Gracia.
That is our friend Michael Gracia. Michael Gracia's got actually a YouTube channel called Getting Tunes. So make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's had us on many a times. He's got a day in Mount Vernon. I can't remember exactly the day it is, but he's got like a day for him. He's working on that comic and that Dax Photon, which is one of his characters that he's going to be putting out. And by the time this airs, it may already be out. But definitely check him out. Get in tune. Michael Gracia, thank you so much for all the support because he's been supporting us for a while also. And so we're returning the favor. So Michael Gracia, you've been plugged.
You've been plugged, sucker. So so that was another great episode on
Yes.
Catch the Craze podcast. And if you want to be a guest on Catch the Craze, it's as simple as hitting us up. That's it. Don't overthink it. Just send us a DM and it's on. And again, if you would like to sponsor your Kickstarter, sponsor our show and promote your Kickstarter, just look at that rate card right now on the screen. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. So you can get a package deal or a single deal. So you can get a monthly for $25. Promote your Kickstarter or your Indiegogo on 4 episodes of Catch the Craze. You provide a 30-second spot, and we plug it in. And don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment below, hit the link below. And I'll have the links to our guests and how you can reach them. And again, pledge to Forbidden.
Yes, you read my mind.
Don't forget to pledge to Forbidden. Yes.
Pledge to the Forbidden.
With that said, Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
And I'm George the Dreamer Medina.
And we are out.
It's just easy. It's not. Crazy. Acquiesce. No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him. Say my name, right? This is what you were thinking? Oh, my. He described me. He said, I'm the idiot.
It was to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.